what I have here is a 4-channel amplifier. It's one I made many years ago, and it's 4 channels of a quad 405 clone. So to give you a bit of a look inside, it's a rather large toroid transformer driving all 4 channels. We have 1, 2 original service spares boards from Quad, and as well have 2 boards that I made myself many years ago. There's this one here and this one here. Now what's happened is that this one, which sat in there, is faulty. I seem to be getting a high DC on the output. I've measured as much as I can on the board, and all of the components seem to be working fine, although I do have a bit of heat being dissipated in a few resistors. And I guess one question is, are they burnt up in the other board? And the answer is no. So something has failed, causing a lot of extra current to be drawn through these resistors. And at the moment I don't know. All of the output transistors are fine. I've measured them all and they're all good. So, and I've looked at every other transistor and they're good too. So all the diodes are good. So what it is that could be wrong, I just do not know yet. I'm going to finish measuring all the other transistors. I'm unable to check the op amp. The only way is to replace it, which I can easily do. I've got them in sockets, so I'll just swap. What is it, a LM301 or a TL071? I think I've got another type of LM chip in there, and a surface mount kind, which I've put on a socket. I forget the type. I'll find out. So I'll let you know how it goes. Okay, I've been through as many components as I could possibly find. Basically there's nothing wrong, which is a bit sad. So I'm going to connect it back up to power, turn it on and see what happens. And hopefully I can, with the aid of some circuit diagrams, not exactly the correct ones, it's hard to know which. There's so many versions of the 405, but it's better than nothing. So I'll try and trace some DC voltages and see what happens. I'm going to just separate it out. I'm not going to sit it in there. And the heatsink's big enough for just a small amount of use. Well, moment of truth is to turn it back on and see what happens. Will there be a puff of smoke, or will it be like before? Oh, well, let's find out. Okay, it's on. Oh, I'm getting 0 volts. No, I'm not. It's all over the place. Yeah, the output voltage is all over the place. It's not even steady. Oh. What I did, I pressed on the op amp and the output voltage was 0. So, do we have a faulty either socket here or chip itself or my soldering? Try again. I've reseated the op amp. Oh. No, we got 0. Oh, that might have been all it was a bad solder joint on the op amp. I didn't think the op amp was providing any DC to the output, but oh, actually it is. Oh, it is. There's no AC coupling. Oh. Oh, that's... Oh. Well, that's the thing. See, these Quad 405s are one of the most reliable amplifiers known to man. They are just so rugged. Apart from having, and this has happened before, where the socket I use for the IC op amp is a little bit touchy. This one here is. I'm tempted now to actually just solder them straight in and forget the socket, because that's now twice it's caused me trouble. Wow. Yeah, I have never ever, apart from what I just said, ever had a fault in a Quad 405, ever. And I've been running them since the late 70s. Well. Oh, that's good news. I do have a few components that are a bit burnt up. There's a 180, there's two 1Ks, and a 10 ohm. 10 ohm, or what's that, 1 watt. So, fortunately, they still actually worked. They just got a bit cooked. They still read the right impedance, or resistance I should say. I'll just check again. Yeah, output 0. Right, and the quest now is to play some music through it. Well, maybe that op amp isn't so hot. Oh, did I forget to solder something on? Why is it distorted? I'll check my wiring. Unless this op amp is still playing up. What is it? Maybe it's a switch. I've either left off a connection somehow, or that op amp is still crook. This is back to being lots of volts on the output. Oh dear. So let's try again pushing that. Yeah, pushing the IC. So it must be a little solder joint or something there, because it's a SMT on a IC socket. I'll have to get a microscope and have a really good look at it. I'll be back. Okay, well, a little IC soldered on the socket, which is plugged into another socket. I've given it a bit of a clean with deoxit and resoldered the connections. Don't know if you can see, but it's a SMT soldered onto a socket. All right, let's try it. It works. Yay. Alright, so basically what was wrong was bad connections on the IC in the Quad 405 board. I've always thought that I really should have soldered them in rather than use sockets. That just convinces me. Part of the issue was that I was trying different ICs. I think, as I say, the original was a LM301, and then I used TL071 for a long time. Of course, they're hard to come by, the single ones, but anyway, the only way you can get them these days really easily is in a SMT. Now, I need to find out what I've got in there. It's probably, yeah, no, I'm not sure. I'll have a look. I think it's OPA 134, I think. It's really hard to read. But anyway, doesn't really matter. Well, my faith in the Quad 405 is justified again. Nothing wrong with the design at all. It's as rugged as, you know, as ever. Yeah. Yeah, sounds fine. Oh well, I'll put it back together. So that's a lesson to be learnt. I've actually ordered a couple of new Quad 405 boards, Chinese ones of course, for about $80 for a pair. I mean, it's so cheap. I mean, these particular boards, I actually made the circuit boards myself and filled them with components that were available at the time. Back in the late 70s, it was what you had to do back then. There was no cheap places in China to buy clone boards, not at all. But they've been fabulous. I've made quite a few. I've made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 so far clone boards. So 3 lots of stereo myself, plus I have these 2 original quad boards, and also have amazingly an original Quad 405 amplifier. So I've got lots of them, and recently I bought a clone black 405 case, which I may actually fit in the new PCBs that are coming from China. I have to get a transformer and capacitors, of course, but it should be really good. Anyway, I think that's about it. She's a goer. Successful. What I'm going to do tonight is listen to some reel-to-reel tapes. I've got 8 pre-recorded tapes off eBay which arrived today, so I'm going to spend the night listening to those. So that's my reward for fixing this. Yes, indeedy. I thoroughly recommend Quad 405 boards if you're building up amplifiers. They are just so rugged. They'll drive any electrostatic. 100 watts per board. It's heaps of power, plenty for most instances. And they sound great. Yeah, I mean, some people say, oh no, there's other ones that are better, and I think my Class A LF2s are probably slightly better, but not by a huge amount. I've yet to do an A-B between the two of them, to be honest, but to drive the electrostatics that I have, I need to use either Class A amps or a Quad 405. I don't trust anything else. I've had some of these Class D amps in my room driving my quads, and smoke came out of them. Yeah, that was a bit sad. Just as I say, don't trust anything else for driving electrostatics. I resoldered the op amp directly into the board. Yeah, I won't use sockets again. Sounds good. All right, I'll put it all back together. See you shortly. Bye.